Hello everyone, it's me, MisAnthro Pony, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you have been saying for a while that now that Season 5 is over, what am I going to be doing for the hiatus towards Season 6? I have a feeling that it's going to be a long time before Season 6 actually starts, which is a good thing on my end because it gives me a lot of time in order to get ready all of these plans and ideas that I had for my channel and some ideas for making videos. And with 1 year having gone by, I think I want this to be the time where I reflect on everything I've done so far. Basically, I'm going to go through the top 10 videos on my channel that I feel the most proud of now that I look back onto them. So, this one might take a while, so grab a seat, get some popcorn and a soda ready, because this is going to be yet another countdown. This is MisAnthro Pony's top 10 favorite videos. The Lethal Award. No, I'm just fucking with ya. The double tribute for Voice of Reason and ANY. When I was doing my tributes towards bronies in the Bronalysis community that I enjoy, I was thinking about Voice of Reason and ANY because they are really good reviewers for the show, and they are two that I really wanted to talk about. The reason I wanted to make it a double tribute was because I felt like I wanted to save time. And you know what? The two are actually very similar in their style. Like, they have a lot of identical ways of reviewing an episode or basically anything. They always do it by this kind of step-by-step schedule, covering one element of the episode at a time. And that results in very well-paced reviews. You can talk about the characters, you can talk about the moral, you can talk about the entertainment value and the visuals, and other certain aspects one at a time. You don't try to put them all together at once. You just want to take your time with this. And that's what they do. They take one piece of the episode at a time, and they talk about how they felt about it. Voice of Reason does it in more traditional step-by-step fashion. He has each thing in the episode taking turns in a specific list. He talks about the plot, and then he talks about the entertainment value, whether it be the development of the characters or the moral, the music and the visuals, all that good stuff. And what I really love about Voice of Reason is how he just seems to be that perfect balance of optimism and pessimism for what he's about to go into. And I think that's what a lot of Brony analysts at the time were missing. They were missing that balance, managing to get the expecting the episode to not be good, but hoping that it would still be good in some way. And he has a good sense of humor that helps to keep our interest throughout the whole thing. I think I still love why I chose that mental breakdown he had when that's the moral of this comic. That's the moral of the Fluttershy comic. He's just going through some kind of crazy breakdown, and it was just hysterical. And another thing that I just really find myself enjoying is how he does a good job at explaining things. He actually goes into detail on why this was this and this was that, why he thought it was good, why he thought it was bad, why it might be somewhere in between. Funny thing, something that FNGR told me is that Voice of Reason was to Season 3 what Tommy Oliver was to Season 4. He made the joke about how they must have switched places at some point. Like, Tommy Oliver was all over Season 3, and Season 4 was that time where, he started to get a little nitpicky and losing his interest. And That was what Voice of Reason was kind of like in season 3. Like, he was the one that wasn't always giving the episode a good liking. And then in season 4, he's just so loving it. And FNGR is like, oh, what did you do to Voice of Reason? Wait, where is he? This isn't the Voice of Reason I know. You must have switched places with Tommy Oliver. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God, that was... I still remember it from that long ago, and it was so funny the way he describes that's what Voice of Reason was like in season 4. He was Tommy Oliver during season 3. ANY, he is kind of taking that step-by-step formula that Voice of Reason has, and he turns it into a countdown-based review. And that's really unique amongst the Brony analysis community. Like, this is something that no one else is doing. He takes the 5 worst things or least good things about the episode and takes the top 5 best things about the episode, and he has all of it taking turns, which, again, really does a good job at balancing out the review. You'd think that this might come across as a cheap knockoff of something, but he manages to make it his own thing because he just has that mellow and down-to-earth kind of personality, and as he goes about with that personality throughout all of his reviews, it's just so much fun getting to see the end result of his review, of finally getting to find out what he thought of it after he went through every single thing. And how he still manages to find time to incorporate what he thinks of as meh in the episode, that just adds more variety to the analysis somehow, and it just makes it so much more fun to see how he manages to have so many things to say about this one episode. Because it's a countdown and because each element of the episode is put into its own category, it makes them so easy to get. They can be completely understood so well. And even if he's not doing the traditional top 5 yay and nay, he still has ways of talking about the episode and being featured on a video that you just enjoy watching him talk about it, whether it's him sitting with a bunch of friends, watching the episode, reacting to it, and discussing it in some way, even if it's a collab where he doesn't do his top 5 countdown and he plays along with the person that he's collabing with, talking about this specific thing along with them, and he doesn't stray away from this area. He is always so on the spot. Eventually, both Voice and ANY came across the video, and they really, really liked it. They were so thankful that I took the time to do something for them, showing my appreciation for their work. And I just felt so good knowing that I was actually doing something nice for someone that I looked up to in this fandom, and they gave time for me back. They wanted to stop by, look at something that I made for them, and they just gave me their thanks. That I don't think that's an honor that a lot of people can say that they got. And that was such a long time ago. Back when ANY still respected me. I wonder how he's doing. Next. The Lullaby for a Princess review, aka the 1000 subscriber special. Around the time that I was getting about almost 1,000 subscribers, I knew that I had to do something special for it. It couldn't just be a typical review of something. It had to be a review of something special, and the review itself had to be special as well. And I just realized that Warp Out finally got Lullaby for a Princess, the animated one, out after 2.5 years of the work that he put into it. So yeah, I figured maybe I could do that for a 1,000 subscriber special. And oh my god, I just loved talking about it so much. It is like the perfect fan animation. It is something that everyone should watch. It is something that everyone should talk about. It is something that leaves an impact, some kind of impression, no matter who you are or what angle you're viewing it from. The project is only about 6.5 minutes long, and it took 2.5 years to make. That's unbelievable. That must have been a lot of hardship and hard work, and it was so worth it at the end. The art style alone, it is capturing. It has its own unique identity. It combines 2D animation with Flash that may be similar to the show, and it has all of these fluid movements that just bring everything you're seeing to life. I actually got a couple of people in the comment section of that video saying that it's like a painting that came to life, and that is so true. The entire animation feels like it looks like it was painted, and the painting somehow came to life, and it wanted to tell some kind of story based on what it was given, how it was made, what it was made to look like when it was given life. There's just so many good things to say about it and so many good things to take from it. Instead of just listening to the song on its own, you are seeing the facial expressions of these characters, and it tells you the story that the song is describing, and it makes it so much more powerful. It is well-paced and well-crafted. It has all the speed and lighting effects and shadows and the angles that it's animated from, the way it transitions to different portions of the story. It just had a warm, welcoming presence to its design, and the time of its release was just the right time. It came out sometime after we found out that Keyframe was finally gonna get out of that shithole of a household. I actually found it through Golden Fox's journal, updating us on the situation, and I was watching it, and oh my god, this is pure fucking gold. I can't believe that this is being released at the same time we found out about such great news on Keyframe's situation. I felt so great knowing that these two things were so close together. It felt like Warp Out somehow knew that this was some way of celebrating the good news, that we all get to just come together and watch something so fantastic and had so much passion and love put into it. And it truly is the perfect symbol of what it means to take inspiration from something that you grew to love and making something to represent your love and appreciation for what inspired its creation. Just My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, of all things, inspired this piece of art, and it was glorious. And I really enjoyed myself talking about why I felt this way about something that was so fantastic. Warp Out, thank you so much. Whatever you're doing right now, I hope you are doing really good at it, and I wish you the best of luck at it. Again, thank you so much for giving us this, and I hope you're doing great. Explaining why my rants are still up. I think one major question that I have been getting since my heel realization is, if I came to regret making those videos so badly, then why are they still up? I can just, delete them, and we can officially put everything behind us. Like, if I really wanted to make a new start, then I would just get rid of them. And a part of me really, really didn't want those videos around anymore, that people could still be watching them and getting a bad impression on these reviewers, or even myself. and that's not what I wanted anymore. And I was gonna go to Disney World with my relatives sometime the following day or the next couple of days or so. So if I wanted to do this, I had to make it quick, and I had to also make it as clear as possible in a way that was understandable why these were still up. So I took some of the comments that people were telling me about how I beat myself up too much, how I need to work on, forgiving myself for what happened, and talking about why I still want those videos up, despite that I really don't like them, and how they were just such a mistake, and I never should have went through with it. I actually started the video saying that some people have been telling me that the moral to Do Princess's Dream of Magic Sheep is similar to something that I was going through. I was going through a sense of guilt in the same way that Luna was, without going too far with it. Like, I wasn't harming myself. I was just feeling bad about what happened, and I just really wish that I could take it back somehow. And that's not possible. The best I can do is explain why those videos are still up, how they are a symbol of what I was like, and how I don't want to be that kind of person again. I kind of need those to remind myself about all the bad things that I did, and how I really need to avoid doing that again. In one of his 3 a.m. rambles, Lily Pete, he changed his name, Lily Pete actually commented on my video, so he must have seen it. He doesn't think that I need those videos to be up to remind myself that I did something bad and I really shouldn't go back to doing something like that. I can kind of understand where he's or she is coming from with this, but personally, I just felt like those, as horrible as they are, those videos are an important part of how I was shaped, the person that I was shaped into, how I transitioned to and from that person, given my feelings towards the fandom and its broken base. And despite all that, I still felt like I wanted to join the Rift Cafe on Skype now that I learned how to use Skype. I actually even say it at one point in the video. I say, this is something that I gotta do before I can appropriately join the Rift Cafe. I mean, it was a really bumpy road, and I went through a lot of negative consequences given the choices that I made. And I think what's most important is that I stopped doing what I did when I did. I realized that what I was doing wasn't going to benefit anyone, and I just wanted to move on. I wanted to do something else with my channel. And I think that was the beginning of it. Like, this was where I really knew that this was where I was going to have to start going in a new direction. And you know what? Thank God for that hiatus, because I have a feeling that I would have missed out on so much if episodes were still airing in the time that I was going to Disney World, like all of the reaction videos, all that stuff. So, yeah, those rants are currently unlisted, but they're not being publicly viewed anymore, as I know. So somewhere, somehow, they're still up, and if I ever need them to remind me of the mistakes that I was making and how I really don't want to do that again, then I'm just going to have to suffer through it. I'm going to have to suffer through my own crap. So, for those of you who are still questioning why they're not deleted, that's your answer. The Tommy Oliver rant finale. Now, I just went on about how much I regretted making those rants and how hurtful it was that I was doing all those things, but what makes me proud of this finale to this miniseries that I was making is the one where I finally just get it all over with. I get all of the remaining frustration out of my chest, and at the end of the video, I even get to end it on an uplifting note, and I properly apologized to everyone that I may have offended and hurt. But the truth is, I said that I was going to do this, and I couldn't just change my mind and tell people, no, I'm not doing it. Like, I said that I was going to get through this, and I was going to get through it the only way I could. And I knew now that just being a screaming child was not the best way to get to Tommy, so I just had to be straightforward with him. Just straightforward, man to man, what I really kind of got rubbed the wrong way about his videos. I'd prefer to not go into exact details, but I just want to say that out of all the rants that I did, it was the most straightforward and honest. There was no bullshit, no cheap pot shots. It was just a complete walkthrough of what I saw and what I felt about what I saw. I had a feeling that he was going to be annoyed by everything that I said. I even called him a buttocks at some point, because you know what? Everything that I had been through up to that point, I had gotten so much frustration and profanity in my head, and I was letting it out so hard throughout this whole miniseries that by the time I got to that moment in time, it was all out, and there was nothing else I could say. So the first thing that came to my mind was buttocks, so I just called him a buttocks. I'm pretty sure he didn't appreciate that. But as I was reading his comment, I was surprisingly proud of how he left that comment so well constructed. He seemed like we all had our say in things, and we just wanted to go our separate ways. It was a proper piece of closure. He even said in the comment itself that he never really thought of himself as a reviewer. He thought himself more as a content creator. So I think that was what was wrong about what I might have done to Tommy at the time. That I would have gotten upset with him for something that he himself never really saw himself as. And I think one necessary but unnecessary at the same time part of the video was when I brought up his rage quit with Appaloosa's Most Wanted. The episode, while I still like it, did have some problems and that obvious plot hole. And just the way that a lot of people didn't like the way that he was kind of just shouting aimlessly at the crowd. I wanted to just feel like I was showing the people who saw his video that the fandom, despite its broken base, still has redeeming qualities and something to appreciate about it. And I just thought that everything we went through to help Keyframe was the perfect example of that. So that's why I just put it in there, because I didn't want to just let people keep thinking that the fandom was pathetic, even though I kind of thought the same thing a long time ago. And that entire second half segment, I think it was the second half, or maybe it was the last third, I don't know. It was the part where I finally got everything out, and I just started saying, you know, I was sorry for everything I did. I'm sorry for all the mean things I said to all of you, to Mage, to Biter, to Golden Fox, to Digibro, to Tommy Oliver, even to Cuddlepug, who I'm pretty sure has not taken a lot of time to even notice that I even exist. I just felt by the end of that video, by the end I finally finished uploading it, I felt like I was proud of myself. I finally got that whole stupid miniseries over with, and I could just move on from it. And I even got to feel like I was telling the fandom as a whole that I never meant to hurt anybody. I was just going through a frustrated phase, and that phase turned into my rant phase. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who still think less of Tommy for that ramble that he did, and I don't think it's deserved. At least, not anymore. I mean, it was just such a hard time for a lot of people, and if he wanted to just do something else, that's his choice, and he shouldn't be ridiculed for that. I just know that this was the part where I finally put an end to all of this stupidity, that I just wanted it to be done, no more of it. And I said that I was going to do a ramble on stuff that I didn't like about Lily Pete. I wonder how I'm gonna do that. But the bottom line is, no more rants. That was the absolute last one towards a person in this fandom, and the people currently watching my channel deserve better than that. And I'm going to do my best to give it to them. The Cutie Remark Review. Even compared to my reviews of Crusaders of the Lost Mark and Brotherhood Social and Amending Fences, what makes this episode review in particular so unique, and it just stands out from all the other ones I've done so far, is not because it's the longest, but because it had that sense of ambiguity. Even now, I'm kind of conflicted heavily, extremely split down the middle, how I should think of this episode. Like, did I like it? Did I not like it? Did I love it? Did I hate it? Should I be angry at it? Should I respect its existence? Oh, man. At the time that I was going over the script, I just had so many mixed emotions and conflicting feelings towards that episode, and I had a feeling that it was going to turn some heads in the comment section of that video. There were a lot of people who, well, I wouldn't say really disagreed with me, because, I got those people in the comment section of that video who say they liked the episode and they had a simple disagreement with me, but at the same time they understood where I was coming from. Yeah, I had those commenters, and then you got the commenters that were just complaining about how I was just being so overly drawn out on the negative aspects of that review. Some people called it my first Digibro and Tommy Oliver moment. And yeah, this was my first Tommy Oliver Digibro moment, where I had a completely different opinion compared to a lot of other people who watched this episode, because so many people are saying, like, wow, this was such an amazing episode. This is the best way to end season 5. There was even this other guy who made it his #1 episode of the season, beating Crusaders of the Lost Mark and Brotherhood Social, and even Amending Fences, that even Digibro worked up the optimism to say he liked that episode. It really interested me seeing how, despite all of the obvious, weird, and confusing things that happened in the episode, that so many people could still take what they liked from it and appreciate what it gave them. And the episode did give us a lot to appreciate. Those alternate universes, those alternate timelines, all of those what-if stories. They could all have their own episode, even their own season if they really wanted to make a story out of it. The Crystal Empire War alone is amazing. It is filled to the brim with possibilities. Seeing Equestria consumed by total war, seeing how the war could be affecting the lives of all of these bystanders and how it affected the main six, how it changed their lives from what they expected, how they thought that this is how they were going to do things before that sudden atom bomb of holy shit, we are screwed comes in the form of King Sombra returning, and now they're fighting for their lives and for the freedom of every known creature in the world. It's just an episode that I think is one that is meant to inspire people who saw it to have their own fun with the episode, to have their own ideas of what these alternate futures could be like. That would explain all the fan art that I featured in that review, those segments where there were people who were drawing scene interpretations into their artwork, and I just think it's so great that some people out there are going to take what they saw in this episode and they're going to make their own story, their own piece of art from it. Even if it's an episode that I can't say for myself that I really enjoyed, I'm still, at the same time, I am really so happy that so many other people enjoyed this episode to the point that they're making all of these fantastic art pieces and ideas that came from this episode, and it is just so amazing seeing what My Little Pony can do for its fandom to get them to do stuff. I think the one regretful moment in the review was how I just got mad at Josh Haber. I was just like, Josh Haber, never do a two-parter for the show again, please. And it just felt like I was just getting really, really enraged. I wasn't mad, but I was expressing how confused and just frustrated I was trying to put all of these non sequiturs together. It was literally hurting my brain so bad that the frustration just finally reached its peak. And it took that cameo guy from Monsters Incorporated to tell me that I gotta keep it together, right? Oh, man, that was... what a moment that was. So, bottom line is, if you liked the cutie remark, then more power to you. I am very glad that this episode gave you something that you can really love and appreciate. It just didn't do that much for me. So, moving on.